Imagine you're in a social situation and you're feeling anxious. Your heart is racing, you're nervous, you're worrying about what might go wrong, and you're feeling anxious, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I know EFT tapping. And so you start going, even though I feel anxious and I have this anxiety in my chest, I deeply and completely accept myself. And all the people turn to you and they're like, what the hell's going on with this guy? He's lost the plot. What's happening here? That's not very realistic, right? So how do you use tapping in a way that's secret? How do you make it so that people don't know? How can you keep it invisible? Well, that's what I'm going to answer today. And I do that because I got this question. I only have one question regarding the tapping. If I'm in a public place where I see people everywhere around me, how would I be supposed to do it without getting strangers' attention? Like in a restaurant, etc. All right, I'm going to teach you two things. First of all, finger tapping. So the well-known points, of course, are here, 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 and then back again. But the less familiar points are the finger points, but they're equally or almost as powerful. So where are the finger points? They are at the outside of the nail bed of the thumb and at the inside of the nail bed of each finger. And you can tap on it in a way that I just did, or you can put your hand like this, fold your thumb, drop your index finger, and tap on the outside of the thumb. Do that, like this, and then you make a fist, and then you use your thumb to drop down on the inside of the nail bed of those fingers. You're now tapping. My mentor, Dr. David Lake, who's a psychotherapist, one of the most qualified people I know, he learned the tapping in 1998 together with his mate Steve Wells, psychologist. They made all sorts of refinements, and eventually they ended up especially David, just using the finger tapping in his psychotherapy sessions. And so it is very powerful. And what they taught me was you can take this with you anywhere you go. So right now I'm tapping. You don't want to tap too hard because you get a different impression. But you can have it behind your back and you can be tapping. If you're wearing a jacket, you can be tapping, etc. And it's kind of like a movement that some people are making anyway. So this is a way that you can hide the tapping and take it with you in a social situation, or if you're in a meeting, you can do it under the table. Okay? So that's a way to have it be invisible. Now, here is a disclaimer. When you're tapping on social anxiety in a social situation, tapping to get rid of the anxiety is not going to do very well. Why not? Because your brain in that situation is perceiving a threat. And so it's activating the fight, flight, freeze response in order to sound the alarm. Hey, danger, get the hell away from here. Or fight or freeze. And so as long as your brain is perceiving a threat, typically this is not going to be effective. What's going to be more effective is doing this tapping while simultaneously having the intention to accept and allow the anxiety symptoms to be there. I know this is a counterintuitive instruction, but this is actually what will help you complete the cycle. What you try to push down will fight back. What you resist persists. What you accept and allow can begin to calm down. Emotions and anxiety as well are like waves on the ocean. They peak somewhere, and when you allow and you don't obstruct it, then it can come and it can go. All right? Now, I'm not saying this is necessarily it's definitely not gonna eliminate your social anxiety, but it may calm it down a bit. What you then can also do is excuse yourself, if it's possible or appropriate, and go for a walk where you have some privacy, or go to the toilet and then start tapping on whatever it is that was triggering you. Okay? So that's what you can do in the moment. So when you're in the moment, in other words, you don't have the same level of control that you have when you're inside the comfort of your own home. But once the situation is over, you can ask yourself, okay, what was it that was triggering me? What did I see as a threat? what did I see or hear, or what was being said that I emotionally reacted to? What emotionalized thoughts do I have about this? What feelings does this trigger in my body? And then use the tapping to neutralize that, right? Now, another thing that you can do in terms of tapping in public is actually purposely go to a social situation, not one where you actually start socializing, but a lot of people are actually anxious just being in a particular social situation. So let's say going to a restaurant, going to a restaurant by yourself, or sitting in the train, or being in the bus, or whatever. So go to wherever that place is that you are and just do the finger tapping. And now, because you're not engaging or interacting with anyone, you can actually focus on what is it that is triggering me. So first you focus on accepting and allowing the anxiety while you're doing your finger tapping. You can do it with one hand, you can do it with two hands, you can do that invisible. And once you've kind of calmed yourself down, then you can simply actually start tapping, because that will draw people's attention. But actually, because I do it all over the place, not so much. Some people might look over, some people might laugh, and those are then tapping targets for you. When you're worrying about what it is that they're thinking of you, great, now you got an easy tapping target. Even though they're laughing at me and they're thinking that I'm a weirdo, I accept myself and my feelings. Or, you just tap from point to point, or you observe the feelings in your body as you're doing the tapping. And bit by bit, you're starting to reduce and release those triggers that get activated in that particular social situation. And it might take you just one time going to a particular cafe, sitting there for an hour tapping. It may take you a few sessions, a few visits, but eventually you'll be in that cafe and you can actually tap, and you're not worried about what people think of you in that moment. It's a great thing to do, especially when you're dealing with social anxiety, because it brings up the problem. Now, it's challenging and it's not for everyone, but I'm just telling you, hey, this is an option. So go and try this out, play around with it. And if right now you're not in a social situation, but you already want to get some relief doing some guided tapping, check out one of these videos that I've got here. Just hit play, start tapping along, and get some relief. And talk to you very soon.